Power Girl issue 12, Leah Williams writing with Travis Moore on the art. Take it away, Matt.
Yeah, so we're getting Power Girl and Valhalla. So Paige goes with Axel, right? And they're walking through the woods, and all I could think of was this feels very familiar. And they come across, what looks like Asgard from mythology, and they come across this gigantic tree, and there's this little squirrel with like a horn on his head running around. And turns out it's Ratatosk, the keeper of Yggdrasil, which is a world tree, from that Wonder Woman run with Conrad, and I always forget the lady's name that wrote, right? And yeah, so it turns out that Axel's kind of like this Indiana Jones for the Asgardians. When there's something that the gods, thought was a good idea, but humanity can't handle, they send him to go bring it back. And so here Kara meets Ratatosk, who is obsessed with her golden hair. And there's this gigantic battle going outside the hall, and Siegfried's there, who was running around with Wonder Woman in those issues. Turns out he's Axel's cousin. So Kara starts asking what's with this battle, and this is essentially what they do in Valhalla. That every day they die, they fight, they die, they feast, and then they do it all again. And it's the afterlife for warriors. Kara seems to be really good at this. She knocks down a whole bunch of Vikings, with her superpowers, which then, gets Siegfried looking at her and, kind of flirting, which Axel's like, hey, are you flirting with my date? Because you better, not. And Siegfried's like, hey, I'm just saying you have, you have good taste. So they end up in the hall eating the dinner, feasting, and Paige notices all of these, different animals. And this is where it got a little bit heady. Well, not even heady. It gets a bit more serious here, is that all of these animals that that aren't exactly at the feast, they're not eating, but they're around the periphery. They're all like these guardian animals that had given up their lives for what they had done, right? So there was a rooster that a raccoon attacked the flock of chickens, and he died saving them. Not a chicken was lost. Or there was this dog that's sleeping on a bed named Roxy, who died protecting her owner from a black bear. And then there's cats, and there's a rat that they point out was a minesweeping rat that went across battlefields looking for mines that needed to be deactivated. And it makes Kara start crying, because it's like this beauty of the afterlife, and kind of like, this culture that takes care of those that have fallen. And Axel starts to, he's like, yeah, it can be beautiful if you know where to look. It's almost a bit sinister with the way that he's acting, but I think he's just being forward. And so she finds out that he was sent to get these, they're called Fade Blessed boots, and essentially they were boots that were meant for these Asgardian warriors that are meant to withstand Ragnarok, but they give the wearer super speed. So that's what he was down when they first met at her in the very first issue. She was having that talk and that auction. They were in the auction, so he was there to get them, so they didn't end up in the wrong hands. They end up having a race. He puts on the super speed boots. Him and Paige run across Valhalla and Asgard, where they eventually fall into the snow and start making out. And he ends up taking her to the kind of chamber where they keep everything. It's called the Charnel House of the God Thought. And essentially, everything that he finds on these missions goes here for safekeeping. It's like a vault. And so he can come and go, but the keepers of this vault are Odin's ravens, Hunyan and Munin, which means thought and memory. He introduces them to Kara, and they're done in this really fun way because of their names, thought and memory. They're the outline of ravens, but the outlines are filled with words. and those words change from page to page, which is really cool. But yeah, so there's this big piece in this vault, and while they're in the vault, everything's kind of spacey. There, it looks kind of like purple fog around, and the items are just kind of floating there. And there's this one piece in particular that is this mask that looks like a Greek sculpture, right? It's got the beard, it's got the haircut, around this water, and then this tree with purple leaves. And Paige asks, what it is, and Axel explains it's called the Mirror of Mimir, and it's a scrying pool, but it's, it only deals in secret knowledge. So Axel's like, you can ask it anything to show how it works. So Paige starts wondering what's Omen up to, right? Because in the last issue, they had to have this conversation that Omen's a little bit too involved in Paige's life, and so she kind of told her off. So there's a bit of a feeling of a guilt here with Paige, and so the floating mask, eyes start glowing, and all the water starts popping up around it, and Paige sees Omen in the middle of like this nightclub. Her eyes are crying, She's crying, but there's like dark smears coming down. That's not just makeup. And then the two ravens go start circling her, and the words that pop up are like hurt, selfish, blood on my hands, killer, and it ends with Paige saying that they have to go find Omen. So a pretty nice little light issue of Power Girl with art by Travis Moore that looks fantastic. Especially the way that he draws Kara. I keep calling her Kara. I know it's Paige, but I'm missing a Supergirl book at this point too. With the way that he draws her, with the hair, that's down at shoulder length, she's starting to, really come into her own with the costume, the jacket, and all that other stuff. And then just Asgard in and of itself looks beautiful. It's what you would think of Travis Moore, but with Vikings and set in that era. So, real nice come down issue for the week. So I will give this a 8.